Last year we got this, and now we have this, and yes, there is a major difference within the size quality of the previous year and this current one. And I know more than just the physical appearance of this. Internally there is some upgrades that will improve your video and audio quality for capturing content. So I'm about to head to New York, and what greater place it is to test out this new device. So please stay tuned while I dive into the review of the new Insta360 Go Ultra. Hopefully I said the name correct. So I got to New York, and after charging this thing for the whole day, I realized that the battery on the case itself is dead, so I can't even see exactly what I'm recording footage of. So I'm going to see if I could get this charged for a little bit, but it just comes the start for me for today. When I charged it, and I don't even know why I didn't even check the battery on this to make sure that it was actually charged. But the action part itself is fully charged, but the case itself is dead. Not sure if that's an issue, but just wanted to point that out to you guys as well. Alright, so I finally got this thing charged, and I think this is the ultra mode, and I want to show you guys. The screen on this is super bright so far. It just looks like I could see my face, and it has the face tracking going on. Just this is very cool. Looking at the sun. Wow, look at the contrast. And the ultra looks very nice. This is the D-warp settings going on. This is very inconspicuous. I love this, and this is also on the auto settings. Hopefully you guys could hear me from the audio coming out of this. I'm just using it straight from this, and we all know how the city is extremely busy. Today's nonetheless is super busy, but I just wanted to test the microphone coming out of this. So now that we've tested audio, let's dive into what my experience is like using this camera. This footage we're seeing right now was shot using slow motion preset 2.7K at 120 frames per second, and honestly it's incredible smooth. The colors coming through are amazing, and while the sharpness might not be the absolute greatest in my opinion, we have to remember this is an action camera that literally fits in your pocket. As a matter of fact, I believe this could even fit in your wallet. This quality is coming from a 1/1.28 inch sensor, and to be honest, I can't really see much difference from the Ghost 3S, which has a slightly smaller sensor. But this isn't the video for that comparison. I'll be doing a dedicated comparison in the future. Make sure you subscribe to see that on the channel as well. Now this footage was shot at 4K at 60 frames per second, and I slowed it down in post using my editing software. I definitely could see the difference in sharpness, and honestly recommend using this method to get a sharper slow motion footage rather than using that 2.7K at 120 frames per second. But if you need something more dramatic with slow motion based upon what you're trying to capture, the 2.7K gives you that smoother slow motion. But let me know in the comment section below which footage you actually prefer. When it comes down to low light, I do see room for improvement, but again, I can't do much complaining, and that's something that I've always had issues with when it comes onto action cameras. But then again, even going out into New York City in the heat, I never had any overheating issues, and that's something that you could continue to expect a value for reliability coming out of the Insta360 Go series. For people like myself who sometimes struggle to capture great shots in public, I found that the magnetic clip on the action pod makes it so much easier to stick anywhere and capture footage. Well, not necessarily anywhere, but anywhere where there is a magnetic surfaces, just like the previous generation with the magnetic pendant, it captures POV shots like these effortlessly. I really felt comfortable tucking the pendant under my shirt and clipping the action camera to it, and just look how tiny this thing is. Whenever I step into stores, I feel like people are less apprehensive toward me using this compared to my Sony FX3. Whenever I step into my store with the Sony FX3, everyone looks at me super uncomfortable, but when I have this tiny guy, it seems to be unnoticed by a lot of people, or even if they notice it, they don't really think much in their mind psychologically. I shot both of these in ultra mode. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below, but I can see there's a slight improvement due to the large sensor size on this year's model. If you look closer, even at the shadows and even the lights in the building, there are definitive improvements. Colors look about the same to me, nothing dramatically different there, and the highlights from the clouds are similar. But one thing that I did notice is there's less control over chromatic aberration. If you look closely at the trees in the top left corner, however, the sharpness is definitely a step up from last year's version. Let me give you a real sense of scale here. This thing is absolutely tiny. Insta360, you've done a exceptionally good job again. I just can't continue to express how tiny this thing is, even though it is a lot larger or a lot different than the size of the previous model, but this thing is just super small and won't attract much attention using it. Now, for mounting versatility, there are actually several mounting options you could expect beyond just the pendant that I showed you earlier. I was using the head clip to capture some of these cool shots that you see right here, and there's actually a headband option that you could probably use if you're doing some form of sports content or you want to get footage that kind of stems from the head down. They also include a mounting stick and even a car mounting option as well, so you got plenty of ways to get creative with your shot. And I'm pretty sure all over YouTube you could see someone using this camera with some exceptionally cool different angles with their mounting clips, or even just using the magnetic surface anywhere. But I just found it exceptionally good for someone like me that doesn't want to carry a ton of gear. I could just use the magnetic clip on the back to either stick it anywhere and just capture my shots right then and there. Battery life held up incredibly well. I ended up charging this for around 25 minutes and the case got from 0 to around half percentage in that time period, and most of the shots that all of the shots that you see from this video was shot using that amount of battery life, and I never had any issues. Even after I shot all of these clips, I had probably less than half the percentage or less than half the battery life on this camera, still ready to keep me going for the rest of the day. So battery is not an issue. I never had an issue using this camera. Hopefully this gives you a better insight on how you could use an action camera like this to improve your day in the life videos, or just your POV content, or just to add some spice to your content for your viewers that are out there. And just let me know in the comment section below if you actually prefer the new size or shape of this current model versus the previous year. I think I have it somewhere right here. Yeah, this is it. Let me know in the comment section below. But if you've made it to the end of this video, again, thank you for watching. Make sure that you hit that subscribe button. Peace out, God bless, and I'll catch you in the next one. Bye. I finally got this chin chart